Strong and able.
Get your elbows off.
I'm gonna run. Watch.
This is not a horse's stable, but a first-class dining table.
Round the table you must go. You must go. You must go. Round the table you must go. You've been
On the shores of Michigan, girl or woman, boy or man, come and join our campers' frolic till your cheeks are turned to tan.
I do have some memories of the camp, being part of the Congregational Church. As I was growing up, we had some youth group activities out here, church activities out here. Probably my fondest memory is the caretaker at that time was our beer halter. So Ed's son and I were about the same age, and we played basketball, so we were out in the gymnasium in the middle of winter playing basketball. So that was a great memory that I have of this.
A lot of my life and my soul is bred in this camp, and it's the number one childhood memory that I have, and I think it's made a lot of who I am today, and it's so much what I want to pass on to my daughter, and it's next to impossible to find this cheap anywhere.
If you're here at the right time in the spring, the smelt will run. And in a really good year when the smelt run is heavy, you can just scoop those little babies out with your hands. And then clean them up and have a little fish fry in the lodge, which is sadly no more. But I commend it to you. It's one of those memories that does stand out, catching those little guys.
The water balloon fights between the cabins one summer. The boys coming at night raiding the girls, and we're all hiding underneath our sleeping bags. I don't remember me doing it, but putting our names in the toothpaste in the cabin. Not that I did that. Making candles in the sand. That was the family camp.
This is where I basically gave my heart to Jesus, and that's what that camp was all about. Was bringing people in an open situation, teenagers, if you can imagine, a bunch of teenagers getting together and sharing with them the love of God and the love of Jesus. That's why it'd be nice to have like a Vesper Point, something like that, to at least conserve the reason this camp was here.
And the first that I stayed here was as a Campfire girl in 1928. Well, that was a Chicago outfit that owned this property originally. And it was Chicago girls mainly that were at the camp. We were South Haven people, and they invited 4 of us to provide the music for their music production that they had that year. And I shudder to think what we sounded like, but you know, since we were chosen, it must be that we weren't too bad. The people that had those cottages along there, we were all extremely friendly, and we thought nothing of walking through each other's property. And I would pretend for years that I was Minnehaha, walking here and sometimes canoeing on the lake.
We were members of a Campfire group in South Haven that was allowed to come out here after the Chicago girls had gone back to the big city. And we could spend a week here, which we did, 2 or 3 seasons, and this was about 1929, I guess, or 1930, a couple of years later. We donned our long gowns with fringe around the bottom and on the arms, and we had earned beads by doing service work in the community, which we wore around our neck. We had made headbands out of tiny beads, and I think my name was Tatapochan or something like that. Anyway, it was a lot of work. I no longer have it, but I did bring one memorabilia along, and that's my Wohelo bracelet of silver, and that was the second rank when you went through the various steps to become a torchbearer.
And our song was Wohelo.
Right, which stands for work, health, and love.
I was a Campfire girl, so I remember the Wohelo song. It goes,
Wo-hee-lo for-ay, wo-hee-lo for-ay, wo-hee-lo, wo-hee-lo, wo-hee-lo for-ay, wo-hee-lo for work, wo-hee-lo for health, wo-hee-lo, wo-hee-lo, wo-hee-lo for love. That's how it went. Three things came to mind. One was the friends that we made that didn't live in our own hometown and the connections we made with people from all over the state. Another memory I have is the classes that we took. People have mentioned Bible study, but there were other classes too. And the one that sticks in my mind was a fella, I don't remember his name, but he was teaching us about group dynamics, and he talked about cliques and, you know, those who are in and those who are out and pecking order and all that kind of thing. And for a kid in 7th, 8th grade, you know, that was such a huge issue. And it really helped me kind of figure out what was going on and, you know, who I wanted to be in reaction to that dynamic. And the third memory I have, which is probably the biggest and best, is the singing in the dining hall. Oh my goodness, that place would just ring with music and wonderful songs every meal. And Reverend Mathers was the director when I was here. And he would sit down at the piano and play the camp song, which is, you know, adapted from the original, The Road to Mandalay. And he played with such vigor and enthusiasm, and we all sang our hearts out.
I still come to Lake Michigan when I need a place to just sort of be by myself and think. And I think a lot of that I learned here at Pilgrim Haven.
My best memory is driving home in 1967 with a car full of kids. And they had just had a wonderful experience here. And they said, when can we go back? And of all the choices they had for vacations, this place was number one for 17 years. We came 17 years straight back from 67 to 84.
One of the most favorite things that we enjoyed was the talent shows, and maybe you want to tell the story about Pebbles.
There's all kinds of skits we used to have. You know, the four guys being brought up before a judge and said, "What are you here for?" I got I got arrested for picking up pebbles on the beach. And the next guy said, "I got arrested for picking up pebbles on the beach." And the next guy said, "I got arrested for picking up pebbles on the beach." And the fourth guy said, "I got arrested for picking up pebbles on the beach." And then the girl stood up and said, "I'm Pebbles."
One of the reasons that we all liked to come, there were four, I was the oldest, was that when you came to camp, your parents thought that the camp was in charge with all the rules.
Yeah.
And because it was family camp, the camp thought the parents were in charge. And let me tell you, that made it a lovely place for children.
There's 7 girls in the kitchen, plus Gertie, who was the head cook, and Mrs. T, who was the assistant cook. And only 4 of the girls knew about it. We had plum juice, and remember we had plums for breakfast, and the juice is left over, so they pushed that back into the cooler and left it in the corner so it ferment. Gertie happened to be cleaning out the cooler. She found it. This is old stuff. So she threw it out. So we lost our first batch. So then we had to let Gertie, and we say, "Hey Gertie, you know, this is what we're doing." And she'd go, "Oh, this is funny," because she had funny things too. And so we got an old crock, and we got more plum juice, and we filled that up and put a cloth over the top so it could breathe, and we put that up inside the root cellar up there so no one would ever find it. How do you build a still? Well, we need a condenser. So we were throwing the refrigerator out from the old Washington Gladden dining hall, and we chucked it down there, and we went down there and we cut out the condenser. Got the condenser, then for the body, and the big 5 gallons of peanut butter, and we got the 5-gallon can, put the condenser in it, and then to hold it all together, you know, the old beds, the spring beds, they had straps on them. Well, we got some straps. We used bed straps to hold it down on top, and a little frame. All we had was a piece of rubber tubing to run the steam over to condense it through a pot and everything, and the alcohol picked up rubber flavor. So it was plum brandy with a rubber flavor to it. So And make a long story short, I still have a half a pint of it sitting up on my shelf at home. It just sits there. It's an old remembrance of the brewery. And of course, it tastes, it's 100 proof, like vodka, but it's, you smell it like a little bit of rubber smell in it, But yeah, everybody sampled it and all that sort of stuff, but no one drank much of it.
Yeah, just looking for sea glass on the beach, splashing in the water when it's still freezing cold in May. Little goldfish pond back there my sister and I loved. The toothpaste in the cabins, just all sorts of great things. So please, please, please share those memories. Look us up on Facebook.
When this property was sold this last time, I was so surprised because I, since a long time later, moved to Kalamazoo and knew about Sue Parish, who had given this land to the Southwest Michigan Nature Conservancy. And so it was just a full circle for me to realize that I'd been here as a camper at Pilgrim Haven, and I had been here as a teacher in the family camp, and now it's going to be saved and used for wonderful things for this. It's a great spot for nature. We always had a naturalist on the staff, as you might remember, and so for the natural beauty and for the beach and for the bluff and for the family experiences, I hope that's the way it keeps going, family experiences.
Where the evergreens and maples stand along the wintry heights, and the long surf breaks like music all the summer days and nights. Lo, there's a camp we love to come to. Pilgrim Haven is its name.
This was a litany that was for the celebration of Camp Pilgrim Haven, and it was used back in Sunday, May 23rd, 1985, as a closure to the camp. O God, Creator of all life, we offer together our litany of thanks, of memories, and dedication. We thank you for a treasured place on the shores of Michigan. Camp Pilgrim Haven by name.
Shores of Michigan, where the white gulls spread their wings, Pilgrim Haven calls you on to wider ground.